Gary is considered one of the most dangerous cities in the US due to its high rates of violent crime. This is largely attributed to decades of economic decline following the collapse of the steel industry, which led to widespread violent crimes, unemployment, poverty, and population loss.
Known as the most abandoned neighborhood in all of Detroit, Highland Park had a population of 50,000. Now it is under 9,000. The crime rate is still 4 times the national average. Follow for more.
Oh, look at this. This is really bad. There's really nothing left of this house. And another public waste dump right next to the dumpster. Why? From a distance, this looks like a house, but if you zoom in, you see it's not really a house, it's more of a ruin, doesn't even have a roof. And there we have a whole row of abandoned houses. Look, it's not just a few streets that I carefully selected to make that American city of St. Louis look bad. No, it's hundreds of streets that look like this.
So now the crime and urban decay in Baltimore has gotten so bad that you can buy one of these houses for just $1. And they'll even give you a grant of $50,000 to fix up the house. So would you move to Baltimore and take advantage of this deal?
This is Argyle Avenue in Baltimore, one of the biggest cities in the United States. As you can see, there are many abandoned buildings. Some of them apparently need to be supported by beams, probably to prevent them from collapsing. In another part of the street, most buildings are simply gone. They've collapsed, have been set on fire and demolished. So this neighborhood is going through some tough times here.
Okay, shalom, shalom. As always, I want to start these videos by giving all glory, honor, and thanks to the Heavenly Father and his only begotten Son for this wisdom and knowledge. That is Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Harakal Quadash, as well as the salutations upon to the elders and apostles of GMS, Great Millstone, whom I've learned this truth under and have been laboring, helping younger brothers such as myself understand this 144% doctrine of the Bible. This video being titled Empire in Decline, basically a sequel to a video I did a year ago. I think it was titled America's Urban Decay. Okay, and this is what you see. This is through the cities of Gary, Indiana, Detroit, Michigan, St. Louis, Missouri, and Baltimore, Maryland. And these cities mainly represent what's known as the Rust Belt. Okay, here in Babylon the Great, we have several different belts. For example, the Sun Belt. The cities from the southwest towards the southeast that get the most amount of sunlight. Okay, we also have the Bible Belt, and we know that's a joke because Esau, he goes contrary to the Bible, but at least in the southeast they try to keep some type of traditional quote unquote Christian values. All right, in comparison to the more liberal states out west and in the northeast. Okay, you got the Bible Belt, and then we have the Rust Belt, the cities that were stricken most with the loss of jobs of the industrial type jobs in the late 1800s to the 1900s. All right, during the Industrial Revolution, the cities that tend to be more in the Midwest and Northeast that lost all these factories and all these, steel mills, all these mills and jobs and factories. Those are what's known as the Rust Belt. And those cities got hit up the hardest with those loss of jobs and have not recovered. And this all dates back. Let's pull up a scripture. Revelation 11, verse 11. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from Yahweh entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. All right, and that 3.5 days means 350 years. That 350-year prophecy, which would go from pursuing to Deuteronomy 28 verse 68, when Esau started bringing southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, known chiefly the so-called blacks, so-called Negroes, Haitians, Jamaicans, over here, Babylon the Great, America, by way of ship. All right, in the early 1600s, that links up to, at 350 years, to about 1970, 1969, 1970, okay, wherein America started declining. All right, and it is, as we see to this day, especially since 2020, all right, and that pestilence, this place is on a precipitous decline. And I think I brought the definition: precipitous, dangerously high or steep. And then the second one, I like this. It says, of an action done suddenly and without careful consideration. And that's Esau right there, because the scriptures speak that Esau wouldn't consider his latter days. All right, so he built his kingdom off the bloodshed, rape, robbery, and murder of the Israelites, but he didn't consider his end. And pursuing Baruch, let's pull that up. Baruch, one of my favorite chapters in the Bible, Baruch, the 4th chapter. All right, we see these in these St. Louis's, and Lord willing, I'll be in St. Louis, Missouri later tonight. St. Louis, Baltimore, Gary, Indiana. And it is one thing to see, you know, images on YouTube of this urban decay in some of these Rust Belt cities. It's a whole nother realm of just I can't even think of the word to see this in person. In particular, St. Louis, walking around the streets not only downtown was very spooky, and Lord willing, I do a video on that tomorrow, but just the surrounding areas of St. Louis, seeing the urban decay, because and we'll get in these population declines. St. Louis was once the 4th largest city in America, and the population's dropped off, and these places are miserable. Baruch 4 verse 31 and 32. Miserable are they that afflicted thee, and rejoiced at thy fall. Miserable are the cities which thy children served. Miserable is she that received thy sons. And these Rust Belt cities are highly populated so-called blacks cities. St. Louis, Detroit, Baltimore, Gary, okay, where Judah had a lot of these factory jobs. And what Esau did, you know, we'll close out, or that'll be one of the last scriptures. He laid a trap by, they call it white flight, where Esau left these inner cities and created these suburban areas, and took all his wealth and resources with that, and then trapped Jake with no resources in these inner city hellholes. And we know, pursuing Isaiah 10, the 1st chapter, that he implements these unrighteous decrees to further oppress and destroy our people. But it's all good, because that same trap he's laying is going to fall on him. And these Rust Belt cities are the template of Babylon the Great. Okay, all these cities is going to look like St. Louis, going to look like Gary, going to look like Detroit and Baltimore real soon. And we're seeing these layoffs kick in more and more. It's only a matter of time before, you know, California, the whole West Coast is messed up, and that trickles across the whole country with all these layoffs. Okay, it's going to get real bad out here. Let's get some more scriptures. It's going to be Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, Ecclesiastes 3, the 12th chapter, verse 3 and 4. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, grinders meaning workers, cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets, when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. And right now, current day, was it May 23rd, 2025? These cities fit that prophecy to a T, on target. Baltimore, Detroit, you know, you just see this blight, this urban decay, all the doors shut in the streets that were once, you know, mirthful and had economy and business and families that lived in these homes and were booming. But now look, it looks sad. It looks decrepit. It looks destroyed. And that's coming all around Babylon the Great, America. All right, when this economic collapse continues, it's going to get real ugly in these streets. Isaiah, the 19th chapter, verse 14 and 15, continuing to speak on the lack of workers, and these layoffs are cutting through the streets of America. It's going to get a lot bad. It's going to go a lot more worse out here. Isaiah 19, verse 14 and 15. The Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. Okay, it's going to be a lot harder, and it's going to continue to get a lot harder and harder to get some type of stable employment. And right now we see people need 2-3 damn jobs just to stay somewhat above water. Here it is. I've had been using credit cards actively since, I believe, summer of 2018. I'd be drowning. I wouldn't be able to survive just daily life here in this hell captivity, Babylon the Great America, without credit cards, without using debt, because the cost of living is so high in comparison what this man gives out for wages. All right, and scriptures speak on that. He that defraudeth his neighbor's living is a bloodshedder. This man is a man of blood. He picks your pockets every which way he can. All right, and we're going to see this manifest more and more. Isaiah 24 verse 8 through 12 speak on this lack, this misery, this lack of mirth, this sad, depressed state. You see these Rust Belt cities. That's the template of all of America. Pretty soon you're going to see that hit up Seattle. Okay, and those West Coast cities are major port cities. I follow a channel on YouTube showing that these ports are not active. Seattle all the way down to the ports of Long Beach and San Diego. We're going to see this trickle all throughout the South, and it's going to get much worse. Continuing, Isaiah 24 verse 8 through 12. The mirth of the tabret cease. The noise of them that rejoice endeth. The joy of the harp ceaseth. They shall not drink wine with the song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. The city of confusion, which is here, Babylon the Great America, Babylon meaning confusion. This is a great city of confusion. All manners of wickedness and madness are endorsed and promoted here and accepted. Verse 10, the city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up, that no man may come in. There is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. In the city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. All right. And we can clearly, these prophecies clearly see that in these cities, and it's only going to spread because Esau has a specific time to rule, and his time is ending. That's why we know in Revelation speaks that the devil has come down with great wrath, knowing he had but a short time. And Thawadi Yahweh Shem Shai, he's ending this man's kingdom. And going back to the definition of precipitous, this place is on a precipitous, steep decline. Okay, and we can see just real quick to prove all things. It says right here, just going into the population decline in these specific Rust Belt cities. It says Gary, Indiana has experienced a significant population decline, particularly since the 1970s, going back to Revelation 11 verse 11, primarily due to the decline of the steel industry and blah, blah, blah. The city's population has shrunk considerably from over 175,000 in 1970 to below 100,000 in recent years. Okay, and that's the spirit. It says 1970, going back to Revelation 11 verse 11. This 350 year, we're seeing the Lord is picking this place apart, this tower, like the game Jenga, where you pull those little wood pieces apart and soon the tower all collapses. We're seeing that with Esau's kingdom, his last seat at rulership. Detroit, it says 61% decrease between 1950 and 2010. That's a 60% population decline. Okay. St. Louis right here, what's highlighted. Since 1950, St. Louis has lost, again, 60% of its population. By far the largest percentage loss of any major city in the world in modern times. Okay. And then the last one, Baltimore. Baltimore's population has been declining since its peak in the 1950s. The city experienced a significant population drop between 2010 and 2020. But it's, where is it? Baltimore's population has been decreasing since its peak of basically 950,000 in the 1950s. And now we see it's down to in the 500,000s. That's a major decline in population. Okay, more and more signs that this man, his kingdom is collapsing. Ecclesiastes, the 10th chapter, verse 6 through 9. Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low place. I have seen servants upon horses, and princes walking as servants upon the earth. He that diggeth a pit shall fall into it, and whoso breaketh an hedge, a serpent shall bite him. Okay, and who dug that pit? Because back in the day, our people, Southern and Northern Kingdom in the early 1900s, had their own businesses, had their own communities, had their own families. We was booming. Okay, you look at Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, several different communities in America where Jake was thriving. But what Esau do? He implemented these unrighteous decrees, going back to Isaiah the 10th chapter 1 and 2, and mainly which was the nuclear bomb, especially amongst the head tribe of Judah, so-called blacks, was the women's rights movement, taking the fathers out the home, which left these hellhole cities you see today. When you take the backbone of the family out and let the women raise and follow after the system of Esau Edom, you look at the poverty and the madness and the crime that you see in these cities. Okay, but he that dug that pit, he gonna fall in that same pit. We gonna see all of his cities look like Detroit and St. Louis and Baltimore. And that's just the beginning. Pursuing Lamentations, the 4th chapter. You got a whole long 1,000 years to pay, Esau. Okay? Because your kingdom was gotten by deceit. So it's going to be transferred to another people, a seed of righteousness. So-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. The Lord is going to undo all that afflicted thee, and we're going to go back to that state that we should be, of a regal, noble people. And this is continuing in the 10th chapter, skipping down to verse 16. Woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child, and thy princes eat in the morning. Blessed art thou, O land, when the king is the son of nobles, and thy princes eat in due season, for strength, and not for drunkenness. By much slothfulness the building decayeth, and through idleness of the hands the house droppeth through. Okay, and Esau let these cities rot because he knows that's where mainly Judah lives, so-called blacks live. He'll let Judah live in some slums where there's no resources, no hospitals nearby, very little funds for school and good education, no fathers in the home, just drugs and guns, and he'll leave crates of guns out in the streets. All these drugs come from foreign countries. Well, Jake don't own no damn submarines or helicopters or cargo planes. How these drugs get in there? But he lays that trap, going back to that pit in Ecclesiastes 10 verse 8. He laid that pit, and the Lord is going to recompense him for that wickedness, and that's chiefly him losing his kingdom. And let's close off on this. One of my favorite scriptures speaking on the precipitous decline of Esau's kingdom, chiefly right here in the United States. Isaiah 47 verse 1 in the NLT, prediction of Babylon's fall. Come down, virgin daughter of Babylon, and sit in the dust. For your days of sitting on a throne have ended, O daughter of Babylonia. Never again will you be the lovely princess, tender and delicate. And we see that more and more. And this is once again, these Rust Belt cities that look like hell. That is the template for all of Babylon the Great to come. All right, with more and more of artificial intelligence and more of just people, losing the spirit to fight. They tapped out. The oppression is kicking their ass, and more job losses and layoffs. We gonna see these cities turn into urban decaying hellholes more and more. Another sign of Esau and America's end. I hope this was edifying. Shalom.